For those who have studied the effects of hypnotism, especially memories retrieved during hypnosis or hypnotic regression, abduction memories are highly suspect. Paranormal investigator Bryan Baxter is also a hypnotist.
You learn very quickly that when you regress somebody, they just tell what's in their imagination. They make up stories. They're very real to them, but they make up stories.
Studies have repeatedly shown that hypnosis does not improve memory, but it can create false memories and solidify a person's belief in those memories. For skeptics, it's no coincidence that UFO abduction stories began showing up in the therapy-crazed 80s, along with other hypnosis-related phenomena like satanic ritual abuse and multiple personality disorder, all based on hypnotically retrieved memories.
The problem here is the evidence for all this. It's hard to think of weaker evidence. It is human memory. It is recalled through hypnosis with all its attendant problems. It is administered by amateurs like me. And then comes this anecdotal information. It's the bottom of the pile of evidence, but it is evidence.
Hypnosis may be the key to recovering so-called memories of abductions. But another brain phenomenon may be responsible for kickstarting the idea in abductees' minds to begin with. It's called sleep paralysis, and it's a true waking nightmare.
I was held down by these living sort of ribbons that came across me and tightened up around me and bound me down. And then, of course, the aliens filed into the room and levitated me and took me out of the room. And it was a very bizarre experience. And I thought, I'm being abducted. You know, why? Why am I being abducted? What are they doing? Turns out I was just having sleep paralysis.
When we dream, our brain switches off our ability to move so that we don't injure ourselves acting out those dreams. When we wake up, it switches us back on again. But sometimes the switch is out of sync, and we wake up paralyzed.
They can physically change form.
As for those who believe they've been abducted and the therapists who treat them, their experiences are as real as any other parts of their lives. Talk of sleep paralysis seems insulting compared to what they believe they have experienced.
When you're in the middle of it, it seems so real. You can't just tell someone who thinks they've been an abductee that they're having sleep paralysis.
You know, they try to discredit people like us, but the fact is, we've seen them, we've touched them, we've heard them, we've smelled them, we've been dealing with them our whole lives. Yes, and they are very real. And I know it's scary for people to believe in them, but you know, sometimes we gotta look outside the box a little bit.
And what about the bodies? The government believes that people may have been remembering tests of jumpsuit designs using dummies dropped from heights over the desert. These were conducted years later, but over time, the government theorizes, they became jumbled with memories of the crash.
Understand why people thought that there were bodies being recovered, why they thought there were aliens. Well, these crash test dummies that they were using, they were bald, they were wearing jumpsuits, they only had 4 fingers. They met a lot of the criteria for what the bodies were being reported as.
But for skeptics, what people see is not evidence, no matter how many people see it, and no matter how qualified, especially pilots.
The term seeing is believing has been bandied around as a fact for far too long. So just because you think you see something does not make it real.
Your memory of anything is being constantly refurbished and embellished by your brain. That's what your brain does. It constructs this narrative.
Now,
I think if aliens were on their way, I would be a little more concerned than I would glad. I don't think that any race that's so much more advanced is in a completely selfless mode. There's a good possibility that they're coming here and we're nothing more than cattle to them. And that's dangerous.
I've seen discussion about how we should defend the Earth if hostile aliens should make an attack on our planet. And my personal defense is that I would buy a lot of frozen pizza and head for the hills.